we are on a bit of a solo trip this week, which is much needed. I won't get into too many details of that at the moment, but I'm very, very happy to be here. So we are in Florence, Oregon this week, and I'm staying in just about the cutest Airbnb that's ever existed. I feel like I say that kind of often. I tend to book sort of cute places, but this one might take the cake for my favorite place that I've stayed at. And let me explain why. Because I go on solo trips fairly often and I sort of have different things that I look for, and this place really ticks all the boxes. The way that it is furnished is so cute and charming. You can tell that they've really curated the pieces, and even like the lighting and different elements were very intentionally chosen and have a lot of character. There is a clawfoot bathtub in the bedroom, which I love, and it has this gorgeous stained glass piece above it that is just stunning, and it faces west, so in the evening, like at sunset, it glows super bright and just looks amazing. I've been here for a day and a half and I have already had 2 baths because it's just so relaxing and fun. Aside from the inside of this little cottage, we have the location. First off, it is secluded, which is something that I do look for. I don't like being right in the center of things. I don't like having a bunch of neighbors around me when I'm on solo trips. I like to sort of be in the middle of nowhere, and that is where we are. We are about 15 minutes north of Florence in the hills, like off the Highway 101. If you're familiar with the area, we're kind of by the seal caves and the lighthouse. So it's a gorgeous area. Nobody around. There's a wraparound porch basically around the whole property. There's a ton of little paths you can go explore, like gravel paths and seating areas, places to lounge and hang out and relax. It's just so cute. Like, this whole place is just the cutest ever. Today, we are going to adventure out to Yachats, which is another like 20-30 minutes north. I've been there a bunch of times, so nothing new necessarily for me, but there are some shops that I want to visit. We may get some like fish and chips, explore the town, might go to the beach. We're just gonna play it by ear, see how it goes, but I'm excited to officially kick off my exploration of the Oregon coast. I love Yachats. It's one of my favorite towns on the coast, and I was lucky enough to get a spot at a restaurant that had a waterfront view and some yummy fish and chips. I'm usually not a fish person at all, but when in Rome, I suppose. I was hoping to stop into 2 of my favorite antique stores here, which are actually attached. They're like part of the same building, but they were closed today, which was a bummer. So if you're ever in Florence, I highly recommend Mystic Antiques and Antique Virgin. I still had a nice time walking around town. I popped into a rock shop that I love visiting when I'm here. I'm not a big rock or crystal person myself as far as getting into like the properties or powers and whatnot, but I do find them very fun to look at, and my kids love this kind of stuff, so my main aim while I was here was to find them some souvenirs, because I always like to bring my kids back a little trinket or 2 from my solo travels. My last stop in yachats was the state park, which is a rocky little beach right in town, and it was such a misty, drizzly day that there weren't many people, but it was dry enough to post up and read for an hour or so, and it is quite a gorgeous reading spot, if I do say so myself. Welcome to Fiber Arts corner of the trip. There are quite a few crochet and knit like projects and little tasks and things I wanted to get done while I have so much time to myself here. First off, I have a few yarns that I wanted to swatch up, which is something that like at home, I'm never going to just sit around and make a bunch of swatches. I'd rather like work on a project. This seemed like a good time to maybe get it done. So this first swatch is Pandemonium yarn. It's a cascade yarn that is a cotton and viscose. Where's the thing? Yeah, a cotton and viscose from Bamboo blend. So there is the label if you're interested. But anyway, I grabbed a few balls of these at a yarn store probably sometime last year, and I've just like never worked with them. I want to stop buying random stuff for my stash. I feel like my stash is bigger than makes sense, and I need to work through some of it. So that's what a lot of these projects are about. So this is the swatch that I made, and I think it looks very nice. I like the color, I like the actual fiber of it, and I think this will give me some good ideas of what to make. I probably will make some sort of like summer tank, probably knit, but potentially crochet. Yeah, I really do like this. I was a little bit worried because I mostly work with wool, exactly what this would feel like. I didn't want it to be too stiff, but it's, I think because of the viscose, really nice and soft and drapey, and I love it. I also did a swatch of my Noro yarn. This is the one I was working with at the restaurant. I've heard really great things about Noro. Here's the label for that one. It is a blend of silk, mohair, and wool. There's the label for anybody who is interested. I've heard a lot of great things about Noro, and obviously it's really beautiful. It's got this great like texture and speckle quality to it. I mostly see people working with like the cream one that has all these speckles, but I saw this in a shop in Chicago when I was there a few weeks ago, or months ago at this point. Grabbed it, and I just haven't worked with it yet, and I wasn't really sure just because of like the texture of it and stuff. I wasn't really sure how it would feel all knitted up. So anyway, I've made a swatch. This one is much more, it's like thicker, kind of more stubbly. It is nice, I do like it. I think maybe the color is throwing me off. I don't really wear a lot of this like mustard yellow color. So I don't know, maybe if I feel like there's a project that makes sense for it, I might get the cream one, but I do need to think of something to use this one for because I don't want to waste it and I don't want it to sit in my stash forever. I have also been working on some like granny square-ish projects. So I got this book. I can't remember where I got it from. It was like some in-person yarn store, craft store that I was in. Fell in love with the designs because look at all of these beautiful crochet square designs. They're just gorgeous. You can either just make one square and have kind of a fun little project to do, or you can combine them and make these like beautiful, amazing designs. And the ones in this book are like so interesting. So anyway, I have been working through some of them. I feel like I haven't crocheted in a while, so I wanted to get a little warm up in, which is what this square was. In fact, let me show you what it looks like stitched up all together. I'm gonna try to do this without showing you guys like the actual pattern because I don't want to steal this person's work. Okay, so that's the crochet square I made when it's all stitched up with other squares of its kind. Obviously, I used different colors. Hopefully that gives you the idea. So anyway, that one was fun to make. I might make more, I might not. Like it would be fun to make a bunch of these squares and then stitch them together for like a tank top or a pillow cover or something like that. But the one that I really, really want to do, it's the one that's in the front, this one right here. This is technically a mosaic crochet pattern, which is something that I have not done before, but I really want to do it for a wall hanging in my like living room area. I feel like that would be really, really pretty. This is the version of it that I think I really want to make. Can you see that? It's just like a few different types of these squares all together. And I really like this colorway too, like the black with the cream and like red accents. I have some yarn from my stash that will work well for that. Anyway, so I would love to make this. And yesterday I got started on learning mosaic crochet. I guess I should show you. This is the same square. This is the back side, this is the front side. So basically mosaic crochet, you each row go around with just one color, and then from the front side, it like overlaps in places to create a design. And so in some ways it's kind of easier than normal granny squares, because you don't really have to like carry your colors or weave in a bunch of ends. It's just like all done as you go. And I kind of thought, now that I like know how to crochet, I was like, okay, I'm on top of this. Like it might be bumpy at first, but I'll get it pretty quickly. It was really hard, like way harder than I thought it would be. And I think especially just like starting out, this is my sample one that I started on. This is the star, but I didn't get to the pointy part yet. Starting out, like these first few like 3 or 4 rows, I was like, I just don't understand. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. The book alone, I'll say for me, could not figure it out. I had to, eventually I gave up and Googled things and watched tutorials, and even after watching several tutorials, it was still very confusing because it seems like a lot of the instructions from videos and the book and different sources were sort of contradicting others. So it was hard to kind of follow the pattern that's in here when it's like opposite of what they're showing me to do. I want to sit down with Maria here and I just wanted her to show me. I just wanted her to show me what to do. Here's the back side. I feel like the way that I am carrying these over is not right. Like it doesn't look like hers does in the book. And it just all seems really like where the corners are not looking right. Everything looks kind of like twisted and tilted. I'm gonna start over. I'm just gonna start over today and we'll see where we get. But yeah, I don't want to discourage you because it is really cool and I like the technique, but yeah, reading the charts and stuff so far has been really hard. Okay, wish me luck. Okay, this is the progress that I've made. I have employed some new methods that I will tell you about. Also, I started this over 4 or 5 times, started, unraveled the whole thing, tried again, unraveled the whole thing. At this point, I'm just gonna continue on. Let me turn my neck lamp off really quick. Do you like my neck lamp, by the way? It's just that this black is so hard to like see without a flashlight shining directly on it. I have employed some stitch markers to mark my corners, and then this pink one marks where I am like starting and stopping every round, like the chain stitch that I'm supposed to like finish each round into. That's what I'm having the most difficulty with, is starting a new round, figuring out like how exactly I'm supposed to finish the round and then start a new one. And the way that the book describes it, I have not found a video that does it the way that it's described, but I cannot figure out what she's talking about in the description. So with this one I just ignored the written instructions and just did it based on how somebody else was doing it. But I just don't think that's actually how it's supposed to work because it was really throwing everything off. Also, my black thread is thicker than my white thread, and so that's also making it a bit difficult. The sun is out this morning and we are headed south to do a bit of hiking. But first, I have to stop at my favorite breakfast place in Florence, which is called the Little Brown Hen Cafe. I personally prefer a savory breakfast, but I do love to have something sweet on the side, which brings me to the reason that this place is my favorite. They have the most incredible beignets, which are made to order, so they're piping hot and flaky and delicious. I actually think that I could eat a full truck of these, which doesn't feel good to admit, but it's very true. We are currently on the trail of one of my favorite hikes in the whole world, and I don't say that lightly, but I really think this has got to be top 3 maybe. So this is 3 Mile Lake and Talkenich Dunes loop, and it's beautiful and gorgeous and amazing. Most of it is through this gorgeous forest. It's extremely green, verdant, lots of little critters crawling around on the trail. There's like slugs, lizards, salamander things. It's very mossy and it just feels like you're in a fairyland. A lot of the times I come in the winter, so it's also misty and there will be like steam rising from the misty logs and it's just amazing. But my favorite thing about this hike is that after about 3 or 4 miles going through this forest, you make a turn and all of a sudden you are on the beach. And it's not a beach you can drive to, like you have to do this hike to get to it. So it's completely isolated. I've done it maybe close to like 10 times. I've never seen a single soul on the beach. It's always just me. So I'm able to kind of hang out, relax, have a fun isolated time as I love to do. So anyway, highly recommend if you are in Florence to check out this hike. It's actually about 20 minutes south of Florence, a little bit north of Reedsport, in that area. I brought a book on this trip and I just finished it because I haven't been able to put it down. I had so much fun reading it. So we're gonna talk about it. The book is Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. And I have been moderately anticipating this book for about a year because I have been a longtime fan and follower of the author, Brooke Averick. I mainly know her from her podcast, but she's also just like a TikTok and Instagram person that I've been aware of. To me, she is a close personal friend who doesn't know I exist, which is fine. So anyway, when she announced that she was writing a book about a year ago, I was very happy for her and excited for her. I know she loves to read and she has great taste in books, but yeah, she like wasn't an author at the time. Now she is. And so I had pretty low expectations and I honestly wasn't really sure that I was going to read it at all. Also because the plot of it wasn't something that I felt like super interested in, which is the main character, Phoebe, is about to be 30 and she deals with a lot of anxieties and OCD, mainly intimacy anxiety, which is like a focal point of this book because like I said, she's about to be 30. She loves love stories and things like that, always has, but she doesn't have a lot of experience dating because it makes her so anxious. So she sort of sets a goal that by her 30th birthday, she's going to lose it, which is like a fun premise, but again, not something that I felt like super engaged in or with. Anyway, I kind of picked the book up on a whim on my way out to the coast. I had a little bit of time before I left, so I swung by the bookstore, grabbed it, and thought it would just be like a fun light read. And it was a really fun book. Like I said, I had a lot of fun reading it, laughed out loud lots of times, like chortled out into the room, empty room. But I also cried a lot, like several times. In fact, I think the first time I cried was like 30 pages in maybe, and I was like, there's no way I'm already crying about this. It was just so touching and like well written. She wrote about the anxiety stuff so well, and it makes sense because I know that Brooke deals with a lot of those things as well, and she talks about anxiety and her OCD like on her podcast and stuff a lot, so obviously it's coming from a very personal place. Like one of the themes of the book, something that kept coming around often, was Phoebe would say, there's something wrong with me. And obviously for her, she felt that with intimacy, but I think that everybody kind of has something that they feel is wrong with them. Like you look around at other people and see things that seem so easy for everybody else, and you're like, why is this so hard for me? Like, why do I have such a problem with this? What is wrong with me? I think that's a really human thought about a wide variety of things. And so that's kind of what hit home with me. It's one of those ones where you kind of love everybody, like every character in the book you're obsessed with, but it all works, you know, like we don't need like a villain necessarily, we just are gonna love everybody. Yeah, it was just so great. I just loved it so much. And also it was so wholesome. Like honestly, I'd say it's maybe like PG, which I wasn't really expecting from the premise of the book. So happy for Brooke. She did an amazing job writing this book. She's never gonna see this, but I'm so proud of her. And I hope that she sells 1 billion copies and writes 1 million more books. My only complaint was that it's pretty short. It's only like 200 something pages, which is fine, but I just wanted it to be twice as long. So if you're into like rom-com stuff, cannot recommend it enough. Before we check out of the cottage, I need to give you an update on the mosaic crochet stuff that I've been working on. So I don't think I showed you the finished black and cream one. This is it. I think it looks really good. I am very happy with it. I think that I figured out the method a bit better, especially once I got past the first few rows that I was like cruising. I don't think I quite do the row changes correctly. You can see on the back like this little ladder, that's where the yarn changes over, and you are supposed to see it a little bit. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically the way that I'm doing it to me feels like this doesn't feel quite clean enough. I don't think it's entirely how I'm supposed to be doing it, and it's definitely not how it's described in the book. The first few rows I was doing it, I think, how it's described in the book, but again, I actually think that I was doing it wrong, but that was like my best attempt. And then I was like, I'm just gonna do it a different way that makes more sense to me. So I changed it up after that. And yeah, I know that I'm not doing it the right way, but the end result worked out fine. So anyway, there's that one. The only thing about this one is that the black yarn is quite a bit thicker than the cream yarn, which I feel like visually maybe doesn't make a huge difference. I think it looks really good. But yeah, it's like really, really bulky, which I imagine, I mean, it's like double layered, so that's not a huge surprise. But I kind of wish that I had a lighter yarn all around. That did make the gauge much bigger than it's supposed to be. This thing is supposed to be 4 a little over 4 inches. Gosh, I didn't measure it, but I'm gonna guess at least 6. It might even be 7 inches. So it's quite a bit bigger than it's supposed to be. Anyway, so then I made a second one where I tried a lighter yarn. So the cream is the same yarn and this navy is lighter than the black by actually quite a bit. In this one, the cream one is a little bit thicker. So I just wanted a size comparison and also like bulkiness. This one feels much better and I followed the pattern better. I don't know if you can see, but there's these like X's, crosses on the corners, and they're actually only supposed to be on 3 of the corners, and so I followed the pattern better this time. Anyway, so yeah, I guess the question is size-wise and feel, I like this one better. Colors, I think I like this one better, but I'm open to your ideas. I guess I'll also show, if I were to make a bunch of these and make them into a wall hanging right there, if I were to do this wall hanging and I did it in navy and cream, I don't know that I'd do red as the accent, but I don't know, maybe. I'd love your opinions on that as well because I don't want to buy any extra yarn. The whole point of this is that I'm getting rid of my stash. So I may potentially continue and make a wall hanging from those stars. I also, just to get a bit of variety and try something else, I also made another square here. This one is a different pattern in the book. It's much smaller. This one's called the William Morris pattern because it is inspired by the luscious patterns of William Morris, who was a British artist, designer, textile designer, and writer, and was a prominent figure within the arts and crafts movement. I have heard of him and I do like this pattern. So this is one square of it. There's 2 different things you can make. This one is the one I might make as a wall hanging. It's just a bunch of those squares. And then these ones have an accent color, which I just did like a lighter green because I didn't have pink. Then you can also make, this one is supposed to be a blanket, but I guess it could be anything. This one's actually really huge because each of these squares is like twice as big as the one that I just showed you. So I guess between the 3, I would love to know which project do we like better, either the stars or the William Morris design, and then between the stars, do we like one of these colors better, or should I just scrap both of them and do brand new colors? Overall, I really am now addicted to mosaic crochet. It's very, very fun. It was a big headache to learn, but at this point, after making several of these, I mean, these are just my finished ones, but I feel like I started and unraveled a million. Now that I've done it a bunch of times, it feels much more like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm looking for. I don't have to do all the stitch markers like I was doing before. And yeah, I definitely want to make a wall hanging. We are doing one final beach day before this trip is over, and I know the sound is so bad, apologize for it. Can't do much about the waves, but it is beautiful here today, and there's basically no people, which is my favorite. I checked out of the cottage this morning, and I was looking for some sort of like cafe or something to go to get some work done. I've been working like a couple hours every day, and anyway, needed something to eat, needed a place to like post up and work. And I drove up to Yachats, slammed, so busy. It is Saturday, so I get it. But like lines out every door, no tables, no parking. It was just like chaos, and I was so just stressed out and uncomfortable. I think the older I get, maybe it's that I'm firmly in my 30s now, I don't know. But I feel like the older I get, the more grumpy I get with people, like being in public. I'm just like, why are you guys all here? Go home, find somewhere else to be. I say as I'm also in the same place as them. It's a me issue, but I drove up to Waldport and eventually did find somewhere to eat and work for a bit. Unfortunately, the food was really gross, which I feel like my bar is really low, so that was an unfortunate circumstance. Anyway, I feel quite grumpy after my morning, and so I thought I need some serotonin. Let me go to the beach, gonna get some work done on my hotspot, and then I'll probably just hang out here for a few hours because I don't have to be home until dinner time. So maybe I'll do a little reading, brought some crochet stuff, and I think it'll be a lovely end to my trip. We are back home, surprise. I wanted to give a bit of a flood update to anybody who's interested. So this will sort of be a post-credit scene for fans of the Sid Graham cinematic universe. This room is largely the same as the last time we chatted. The flooring has all come out, and then the walls in these two closets have come out. Also, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to my last video to see all the details on the great flood of 2026. Anyway, the biggest update comes out of this room. So into the hallway, all the flooring has come out that direction. There's closets in the hall, all the flooring has come out of them, and then holes have been drilled into the walls. Then the bedroom, which was also affected by the flood, flooring has come out of there, and that's where they found the asbestos, and so that was a bigger process and has all been taken out and completed, which is great. The fans and dehumidifiers have been moved out of this room and the hallway and then been put in the bedroom. We've gotten the green light on moisture in these spaces, and we're just waiting for the bedroom to be dry enough. And then once that happens, which hopefully will be in a couple days, then we need to wait a couple days for the official insurance report to be submitted and go through, and then we can start rebuilding, which will probably take a bit. I honestly don't know. I've basically let go of all expectations at this point. When the flood people first came, they told us that the entire process would take like 2 to 3 weeks. And even then, in the back of my mind, I was like, it might take longer, because things like this just always take longer than you think. Because yeah, we're 2.5 weeks in and we're not close to being done. So could be another couple weeks, maybe longer. I honestly don't know. The only good news and bright side that I really have is that I have found some tiles that I really love. If you watched my last video, I talked about maybe finding replacement tiles for the hearth of my fireplace. They weren't damaged, but since we're ripping the rest of the floor out in here, I thought could be a fun thing to redo the tiles, which I dislike. Anyway, I found new tiles. They are hand painted by an artist that I really love. They're kind of like a folk art-y style, so they'll be kind of like a patchwork vibe. They're very much like, oh, that's my style for sure. I don't want to tell you exactly what they are yet, both because it could be a fun surprise later, but also I haven't officially acquired the tiles and the timeline is a little bit fuzzy, so it could be changing. I don't want to say like for sure this is happening, but just know that they're very cute. And if it all works out, then I will be very excited. Last thing that I wanted to chat about, and this is not flood related, but I have been considering letting you guys in on this peek behind my mental curtain for a while now, and it feels the most genuine thing to do to let you in for a minute. I, to put it bluntly, have been feeling an intense and immense amount of anxiety and stress around work stuff. And the part of it that has been so stressful is specifically the public aspects, the sharing aspects, I guess like the social media aspect. And it's been building for a long time, like before the flood even. I think it's slowly been kind of growing and getting worse over months and months and months. And it really hasn't been until the last like week or so that I've realized like, oh, this is incapacitating you quite a bit. You may have noticed I've sort of disappeared from like Instagram and TikTok. I have a brick, which is like, it shuts certain parts of your phone off, certain apps to like keep you focused and stuff. Anyway, I've been using my brick for like a year, and I used to use it just when I wanted to like really focus, really like get some work done, maybe a few hours a day at most. And the past like month, I have had my phone brick 24 hours a day pretty much, except for when I like have to check on something. Because when I'm not bricked, when I have access to Instagram and TikTok, I have like a physical weight on my chest. I feel horrible. It's like, it's really bad. If I am shut off from that stuff, then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I'm getting tagged in things, I'm getting DMs of things, people are posting stuff that I should be responding to, even if it's not directed toward me. Like I have friends that I want to encourage and respond to their things and comment on their things, and you know, that stuff is in my mind, like I should be on there, or even, you know, this is part of my job, I should be like aware of what's happening. But then when I do have access to it, I am so stressed out by responding to the amount of things coming my way, or being present enough, or like posting enough things, or posting the right things, or it's just like, that's a whole chaos sandwich. And so there's really like no escape. Either way that I'm doing it feels completely overwhelming. But I have been considering potentially doing a social media sabbatical, potentially. I don't know. I'm still kind of ruminating on the idea, but I feel like I'm so in the trenches of this stress that I can't even think clearly to see how to solve it or make it better. And I want to just like fully remove myself for like an extended period of time, and hopefully that will give me the perspective to either find a path forward that makes sense for me and that still feels overall positive, or tells me what I need to know about maybe not being so public in the future. I don't know. This is the epitome of first world problems, I'm aware. But I also just feel maybe a little disingenuous when I am posting things like my great vacation that I had so much fun on, but in the back of my mind, like I have been like so incredibly stressed out this past like week plus, but like as I've been filming this, I have been actively like very stressed out, and I don't want to completely omit that fact because it is in my life pervasive. I'm gonna get this figured out. I'm doing my best, but I love you guys. Appreciate you for hanging out with me and helping me kind of get through this flood situation. I will be back somewhat soon, hopefully with a better flood update. So love you guys, and I'll see you later.